Hello all, this is Abhilash. So today we are going to discuss about the contracts, the Indian Contract Act 1872. So in the last two videos, in the last two lectures, we have learned about the essentials of valid contract, void contract, voidable contracts. So let's start with the performance of contracts. So first, what is the performance of contract? Performance of a contract relieves a person from further duties under the contract. Okay, so we will understand this concept in depth with the three levels of performance. First one is complete performance, second one is substantial performance, and third one is bridge. So let's start with the complete performance. So what is complete performance? The contracting party has fulfilled every duty required by a contract. The complete performance by a party means that the contracting party has fulfilled every duty required by a contract. A completely performing party is entitled to complete a performance by the other party. So let me give the example here. Let's say I enter into a contract to build a house for my friend, and I build the house and complete all the material and non-material requirements of the contract. So this is the complete contract, right? The second level of performance is substantial performance of a contract. So substantial performance of a contract means less than a complete performance, but the level of performance is sufficient to avoid a claim of breach of contract. More especially, it means that a party has performed all material elements of the contract, but there are non-material aspects left incomplete. So it's like 70-30, like 70% work has done as per the contract and 30% is left, right? The third level of performance of contract is breach of contract. So any performance that is not complete is a breach of contract, or substantial performance is a material breach. This entails performance at a level below what is reasonably acceptable. The materially breaching party cannot sue the other party for performance and is liable for damages to the other party for the breach. So let's understand this breach of contract with the example. Let's say I enter into a contract, like let me take the example which I have given while explaining complete performance, that is about the building a house for my friend. So I enter into a contract to build a house for my friend, and I'm distracted by another contract and make material errors in laying the foundation. It causes the house not to be meet standards and pass inspection by the builder inspector. So in this case, I have breached the contract by failing to perform a material duty under the agreement. So whatever I am the building house for my friend, the quality will not be good. So here the contract has been breached. So let me give the one more explanation on the breach of contract. If one of the parties involved in the contract fails to meet its obligation specified in the agreement, then the party has breached the contract. So this can happen if a deadline is not met, or the action does not happen at all, and the performance is not according to the certain terms laid out in the contract. If this obligations are if met, then the contract is breached. So this is all about the performance of contract. So next is the remedies on breach of contracts. So we have a 6 types of remedies. These are the common remedies. Okay, the first one is compensatory damages, specific performance, injunctions, recession, liquidated damages, and nominal damages. So if someone breaches a contract with you or your company, you deserve justice, right? This is a very common thing, and each and everyone knows that. So fortunately, there are a number of potential remedies for breach of contract. This can range from enforcing the terms of contract to monetary compensation. So these types of remedies for breach of contract, there are several common remedies for breach of contracts. The appropriate remedy depends on the terms of the contract, the nature of the breach, and the specific circumstances of the case. So first is compensatory damages. An award of compensatory damages is the most common of the legal remedies for breach of contract. The calculation of compensatory damages is based on the actual losses you have sustained as a result of the breach of contract. They typically fall into two categories: expectation damages and constitutional damages. So what is the expectation damages? So expectation damages, also referred to as a general damages, are those that directly result from the breach of contract. So let me give the example. So imagine a company that provides a bus tours enters into a contract to buy a bus for 10 lakh. Okay, so imagine a company that provides a bus tours enters into a contract to buy a bus for 10 lakh. However, the seller backs out of the contract and refuses to sell the bus. Then the bus company finds another seller with the similar bus, but the new seller is not taking less than 10 lakh, he is asking 11 lakh. So in that case, the expectation damages would be 1 lakh more. Why? Because the first seller, he's backed up, he's back out, and he's not free to sell the bus. The difference between the contract price and the amount of the company had to pay another seller for the same product. So it's a 1 lakh rupees. So here is the compensatory damages. Right. Constitutional damages are those that flow as a natural consequence of the breach, often compromises profits that the company lost as a result of the breach. So in that case, we'll take a same example of bus. Imagine it took an extra week to secure the new bus. As a result, the tour company had to turn away 1000 customers that would have each paid 500 rupees for a bus tour. Okay, so in that case, a company could likely to recover consequential damages for the 50,000 they lost in the ticket sales. So 1000 into 500, if you calculate it, so it's coming around the 50,000. Right. So often the breaching party will attempt to avoid paying constitutional damages by claiming that they are too speculative or that they are not forcible. Also, sometimes parties to a contract may limit and preclude either party from recovering constitutional damages. An experienced attorney, means advocate or advisor, can help you combat these arguments and maximize your damages award. So next is specific performance. The specific performance is a type of remedy for breach of contract in which a court orders the breaching party to perform their end of the bargain. So monetary damages are typically favored over specific performance as a remedy for a breach of contract. However, specific performance may be available when monetary damages won't adequately compensate you. For example, they may apply to a contract for something that is unique and can't be easily replaced. So here let me give the example of Tom Cruise. You know that Tom Cruise is the one of the leading actor in Hollywood industry. He have acted in many films, right? So he's a famous for special stunts, right? So he's doing special stunts, and the director is hiring specially for him. If he's not able to perform, or if he's not able to do the stunts which he is agreed to do in the contract, so there will be not a satisfied performance, right? So that is called a specific performance. And if the Tom Cruise is not doing the specific performance, then the contract is breach. Next is injunction. Injunctions serve a similar purpose as a specific performance. The difference is that with the specific performance, the court orders a party to do something. With an injunction, the court often orders a party not to do something. An injunction may be permanent or temporary. Temporary injunctions are often ordered while litigation is pending to prevent potential damages. So, for example, in a lawsuit that the concern a breach of a non-compete contract, a court might order the defendant to cease the allegedly competitive activity until the lawsuit is resolved. The permanent injunctions, as the same suggests, is permanent. A judge may issue a permanent injunction as part of their final ruling in a lawsuit. Next is rescission. The rescission allows a non-breaching party to cancel the contract as a remedy for a breach. Rather than seeking monetary damages, the non-breaching party can simply refuse to complete their end of the bargain. Rescission puts the parties back in the position they would have been in had they never entered into the contract. However, to justify rescissions, the breach must be material, and that means that it has to go to the heart of the contractual agreement. So let me give the example. So imagine that you contract to provide catering services for an event. Okay, the contract requires the other party to pay half the contract price by a certain date, but they never pay. Since payment goes to the heart of the contract, as per the contract, as per the terms and conditions, the party is not paying the half amount as per the given date, certain date, right? Since payment goes to the heart of the contract, you will be justified in the residing in the contract and refusing to provide the catering services. So you can back up and you can say that as per the contract you are not providing the half payment, so I'm refusing to provide a catering service. Liquidated damage. So liquidated damages are a specific amount the parties agreed to in the contract as a compensation for a breach. Contracts often use liquidated damages provisions where it might be difficult to calculate the correct amount of compensatory damages. So the best example in real estate, the real estate purchase agreements and construction contracts commonly rely on liquidated damages. There might be a specific sum such as the amount of the earnest money on a purchase contract, or they could depend on a formula such as certain amount of the money for each day a deadline is not met, right? And the partnership agreements are also likely to include liquidated damages provisions. Although courts typically afford liquidated damages clauses, they may have disregard them if the amount of liquidated damages is drastically smaller or greater than the value of the actual harm the plaintiff has suffered. The plaintiff is nothing but is the name of the person. So next is nominal damages. A court may award nominal damages as a legal remedy for breach of contract when the plaintiff cannot support their claim for compensatory damages. With the nominal damages, the court recognized that the breach of contract occurred, but the no harm can be calculated. So while receiving nominal damages may feel like a Pyrrhic victory, the plaintiff does get the benefit of the ruling in their favor. This may be simply a moral victory, or it may pave way for the plaintiff to pursue another type of the legal action. If the contract has an attorney fee provisions, an award of nominal damages may also enable the plaintiff to seek their attorney fees from the defendant. Right? So this is all about the performance of contract, breach of contracts, and remedies on breach of contracts. So in the next video we will discuss about the last topic, that is quasi contracts of unit 1. Thank you. Best wishes.